to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today Around Kansas starts with a look at the upcoming 5th annual Get Rev'd Up Car and Bike Show in Lyndon. Next, we go back in time 80 million years ago when Kansas was an inland sea, with a trip to the Fick Fossil Museum in Oakley. Then enjoy a poem by Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a photographic tour of Highway 83 by Keith George. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Well, it's Wednesday. Good morning. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. It's where we talk about why it's fun to travel around the state of Kansas, the great places to see and visit, and the people and all of that.
You know, I really appreciate your reminding us that it's Wednesday every Wednesday, Frank, because I forget sometimes. And Wednesday happens to be my deadline day for grass and grain, for the column I do for grass and grain. So one Wednesday, I was headed up to Oberlin, went with a friend of mine, forgot it was Wednesday. I was driving on a very muddy road in western Kansas, and Dr. Jake's four-wheel drive truck, trying to get it into four-wheel drive to get through the mud, and he said the road looked perfectly dry to him. Forgot my wallet, forgot my makeup. I had to take my last dollar I could scrounge together, buy a tube of lipstick when I got to Oberlin. Fortunately, my friend Sharon bought lunch, so I didn't need my wallet. But when I got there, and then I realized I'd forgotten my grass and grain, and I'm like, good grief. And she said, it's okay. He told us you were real forgetful, and we'd have to walk behind you and make sure you didn't leave stuff.
I lead such a boring life. Oh, my.
Well, I think my mind is just going in too many directions right now. That's why I'm so forgetful.
Oh, yes.
So I appreciate your reminding us that it's Wednesday, Frank.
Well, and this is kind of a new surrounding because, this has been a wild and woolly spring with the weather around here. So actually we're doing this this morning from our bunker.
Hiding from tornadoes.
Yes, so.
And living dead, zombie apocalypse, and ninjas, whatever else is going to attack.
We thought we would test this out. The sound is really good, and I think the lighting's okay, according to our director over there.
Yeah, so. Michael's happy, so we're all happy. As long as Michael's happy, we're happy.
Yes, so anyway, we really do have some great stories for you today from around Kansas.
And I get to, get out and meet so many awesome people, and we're going to share some of those with you today. And I'm always blown away by just how much talent there is in this state. And we've talked about that before, but every time you think you've seen it all, or you've discovered it all, or you've heard it all, then there's something else, and there's somebody else, driving along the back roads. And here you've got these wonderful little farms where people have done the quilt art, on the barns, the quilt squares, and they've just done some wonderful things to make their place look pretty. And there's just so much beauty and so much talent. And of course, the state, you mentioned the stormy spring. The upside of that is the state has been green all over.
Yeah, the drought is over.
The drought is over.
The Kansas drought map now that's it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And that's the really good news, and I think that even the aquifer, the water levels were up, which is just amazing. So
and the weeds are growing, and the mosquitoes, it's just wonderful.
But the wheat is high and beautiful.
Yes.
So it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good show. Stay with us.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Stop for the legend. Buffalo Bill Cody earned that title right here in Oakley. Celebrate its pioneering history and unique geography in 2 sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Plan to visit June 10th and 11th for the Tri-County Cruisers Car Show, Street Dance, Beer Garden, Citywide Garage Sale, and Quilt Show. Or plan your event at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70 crisscross this hub of the Western Vistas Historic Byway. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life. And we're back again. Hey, got to ask you, can you drive a stick shift?
I can.
Yeah, because, occasionally on Facebook you see, if you can drive one of these, post that you can do it. And of course it's stick shift. So just wondered, and I only brought that up because we're going to talk about a car show.
Which is always fun. And I think people just want stick shifts so they can look cool. And I always wanted to look cool. And I've failed miserably most of my life, and driving a stick, it's like I'm short. So putting the clutch in and shifting at the same time was always a struggle. I learned to drive on Daddy's Ford pickup truck, learned to drive a stick, and I had to stand up to put the clutch in and change the gear. I think it was on the steering column.
Oh, if it was up there, well, yeah, if you're that short, you'd have to do this.
And
second gear, yeah.
That's exactly what I did. That was exactly it. So, yeah. I can if I have to. In an emergency, if somebody is dying, yes, I can drive a stick.
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of people saying, "What are they talking about?"
Stick
so
shifts.
Anyway, if you see a classic car and it's got one of these or one of these on the steering column, and it has 2 pedals down there, and the gas pedal, then this is the clutch that makes this shift and all that.
How confusing can it get?
Yes.
And then I was watching Green Acres the other day, and they were working on one of those old pickups that had a, what do you call it? When you pull the knob out to crank it.
Oh, the choke.
The choke. Yeah, the choke. And my grandpa's pickup, I remember his having the choke that he had to pull out. Yeah, and you see some of those classic pickups like that. My uncle's got one. It's baby blue, and oh my God, it's so pretty. So yeah, you can just go to the car show and your mouth and water are just all over the place over those beautiful, beautiful vehicles.
Yeah, I think we're coming back. Car shows are great entertainment for the whole family, and one is coming up next week that you're not going to want to miss. On Saturday, June 18th, the Lyndon United Methodist Church is once again hosting the 5th annual Get Rev'd Up Car and Bike Show in the Lyndon City Park, located at 10th and Topeka, right off Highway 75 on the north end of town. Not only will they have fun and flashy cars on display, but also all kinds of tractors, boats, and anything else with a motor. And for the kids, tattoos, a hot rod coloring contest, and goodie bags. As a special treat, David Wolf and the Street Rodding crew will be filming the show. The event starts at 8:30 a.m. and goes to 3 p.m. So be sure and come for breakfast and lunch, plus homemade ice cream and cinnamon rolls. And while you're there, enjoy a live band and DJ. For those wanting to have their car judged, registration is from 8:30 to 11:30. Top 25 awards and several specialty awards will be given. Lyndon has even more to offer that day for the whole family. Both the Bailey House and the Osage County Historical Society Museum will be open during show hours. Built in 1870, the Wells P. Bailey House originally set east of Lyndon, but was moved to the city park in 1997 by the Historic Preservation Partnership of Lyndon. It was placed on the Register of Historic Kansas Places in 2010. This huge log home has an exciting history, and both kids and adults will enjoy seeing how Kansans lived in the late 1800s. The Osage County Historical Society Museum will also be open during the show. This museum houses a collection of artifacts donated primarily by present and former residents of Osage County. Exhibits are arranged so that visitors can get an insight into business, work, and family life of bygone eras. This museum represents the wide variety of historic, economic, cultural, and ethnic aspects of Osage County from the early settlement in the 1850s and onward. It is also home to the Holly Genealogical Research Center, the official repository for archived Osage County records. So grab the family for a fun and educational day in Lyndon at the Lyndon United Methodist Church 5th Annual Get Rev'd Up Car and Bike Show.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community.
The 160th anniversary of the Battle of Fort Titus, June 18th, 2 p.m. Reenactors welcome. Call 785-887-6148 for more information.
Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org. They let us come back.
They keep asking for it. I don't know.
This is Around Kansas, by the way, in case you just tuned in. So I'm Frank, that's Deb, and so here we are.
So
I'm the old fossil. Speaking of.
It's like we were sitting around at a conference a couple of weeks ago with some old friends, and one of my friends said something about giving away how old he was by music and, you know, different things that you're interested in. I said, no, it was the carbon dating that gave away how old you were. So, yeah, I'm pretty merciless. But speaking of fossils, great segue, Frank. That was awesome. We've got in Kansas, we are so fortunate to have so many museums with really, really cool fossil exhibits. And in my new hometown of Oakley, there's one of the best, the Fick Fossil Museum. Have you ever stopped there? Mm-mm. Well, you and Michael are going to have to just get on the road one day and just take a trip and hit all the places that we've shared on here. But it's wonderful. It's adjacent to the library in downtown Oakley. So the library is one wing, and then the Fick Fossil Museum is on the other. And so the museum, and we'll talk about it in the segment, has fossils, but they've also got a lot of other really cool things and traveling exhibits. And Jody, who runs the museum, is just amazing. She does a wonderful job, and she'll make you feel so welcome. And if she doesn't know the answers, well, she's got the library right across the hall, and she will go over there and find out for you. So it's just it's a great place and great folks, and you know, the kids love it, love it, love it, love it.
And Oakley is where? It's way out there?
4 hours from Topeka.
Okay.
It is, I think, mile marker 76 on I-70. But there's, if you get out there, if you're from this part of the state or another part of the state, spend the night, take some time. It's right there on the Western Vistas Historic Byway, and there's a lot to see and do on that byway. So take advantage. You know, the new byway program that the state's doing, that's pretty cool, and they are so designated because they got some cool stuff along the way.
Let's go visit some of my ancestors.
People don't generally associate Kansas with the ocean, but Kansas was a very different place 80 million years ago when an inland sea stretched from the Arctic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico, and Kansas was underwater. By 1964, this vast ocean was long gone, of course. It was then that Oakley area residents Ernest and Vi Fick started to seriously collect fossils left by the ancient creatures that inhabited this prehistoric sea. By 1971, they had collected thousands of shark teeth and complete fossils. Soon, their collection had outgrown their home. The Fick Fossil and History Museum was established to showcase the Fick family's findings and artwork. It allows you to walk through the history of Logan County from the prehistoric era amid sharks' teeth and fossils to the replicas of Oakley's board sidewalks during the dust storms of the 1930s. Most of the fossils in the museum were found within the vicinity of the Fick's homestead near Oakley. Vi combined fossils and shells with oil painting to create one-of-a-kind artwork. These folk art paintings are prominently featured in the museum. The museum houses replicas of Oakley's first depot, a sod house, Prather's Creamery, and Oakley's General Store. The museum also houses a large, impressive collection of rocks and minerals from the area as well as around the world, including the remains of ancient tombs. Among its more than 11,000 shark's teeth and many fossils, there is the world's oldest known mosasaur fossil, prepared by the well-known fossil hunter George Sternberg. Displays by local artists and collectors are on exhibit monthly, and traveling exhibits often visit the museum. The Fick Fossil Museum is adjacent to the Oakley Public Library.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotating cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. And I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Support Kansas agriculture education with an AgriTag. AgriTags are available anytime at your county treasurer. They look great on cars and trucks. For more information, go online to ksagclassroom.org.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
I'm proud to say that my daughter is a veterinary student at Kansas State University, and as a result, I've been able to learn some things too. This is a term she shared with me. The poem is entitled Zoonotic. Us boys were working cattle one day in early spring. Our veterinarian watched carefully, checking everything. Our vet is a terrific guy for all these operations. He was preg checking cows and giving vaccinations. We moved in a bunch of cows at the boss's direction when the boss spoke up and said, "Hey doc, I've got a question. What is zoonotic?" he said. I saw that word while reading about possible diseases in a herd. Well, doc replied, it's something we're not often seeing. It's a disease that transfers from livestock to a human being. We watch this very carefully with diagnosis or a blood sample in case a germ jumps from monkey to a human, for example. Doc continued to explain as we got the cattle headed till we had just one cow left, but it was the cow I dreaded. This old cow was ornery, had a mean streak a mile wide. She was tossing and a-kicking, all snorty and wild-eyed. Young Billy tried to head her in, but as he got in close, she turned her head and kicked him right into a fence post. The other cowboys pushed her in and got her in the chute, while Billy cussed that angry cow and kind of nursed his wound. Old Doc gave him some vet wrap for where he broke the skin. That tickled our old boss, and he got a little grin. He said, "Doc, you're an expert on disease and antibiotics. Would young Billy's ailment be considered zoonotic?" Doc said, "Well, in one sense, as anybody sees, young Billy might be called a victim of mad cow disease." Happy trails.
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program, 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. We're back again. Hey, you know, back in the 60s, there was a TV show called Route 66. And, you know, of course, Nat King Cole did a song, Route 66 and all that, from Chicago to LA. In other words, the Western. And the idea of the show, of course, was these two guys jumped in a Corvette and they didn't have jobs. And what they did is along the way, they would stop and they'd get jobs and then getting involved in some sort of adventure. But it was Route 66. But that is east and west, but you're going to have a story about a highway that goes north and south.
And actually, Highway 83 intersects 66 in Texas, I think, because that is part of our friend's coverage area. When I was talking earlier about going up to Oberlin to visit with Charlene Worm and Gary Anderson, their landmark, and then the last Indian Raid Museum. And while we were at the Indian Raid Museum, Keith George pulls up in his little red Corvette, and he is wide open. I am telling you what, he's full of personality, but he's photographing. That's what this segment is about, Highway 83. And he was talking about a friend of his that is that has a museum near the intersection with Highway 66, and he was going to send him up to see Charlene's museum because of what a great job Decatur County and pretty much Charlene have done with the last Indian Raid Museum. And he was talking about how this is just the Smithsonian of Kansas, if not the West. I mean, he just was so blown away. And you're going to be blown away when you see some of the images. He's done a really incredible job. And he was so much fun, and the history of Highway 83 is just fascinating, and I think you're really going to love this segment. And you can follow Keith, you can follow his adventure on Facebook and keep up with all the pictures that he posts and all the stuff that he's doing. You're going to really enjoy this.
Let's get out on Highway 83.
Highway 83 slices America almost in half, a line running north-south from the U.S. border with Mexico to the border of Canada, descending 1,885 miles from West Hope, North Dakota to Brownsville, Texas. It is one of the oldest and longest of the federal highways that hasn't been replaced by an interstate and is a major artery in western Kansas, where cattle trucks and pickups outnumber the cars. Author Stu Magnuson, a native of Omaha, has introduced the road to the uninformed with his Highway 83 Chronicles. The latest person to carry the banner for the scenic highway is Texan Keith George. Keith has been traveling the route with a camera and a drone, making friends and memories along the way and being transformed in the process. In his little red Corvette, Keith gets noticed in the little towns and communities that line Highway 83. In fact, while in Oberlin, the Decatur County Sheriff stopped to visit with him. Keith was understandably concerned and wondered what regulation he had violated. He was stunned when the sheriff responded, "I wanted to bring you a welcome gift." That has been typical of his reception along the road. People have opened their homes and hearts to Keith, a self-described Type A personality who only slows down long enough to click the camera. His stunning video footage will make people take a second look at places they thought they knew, like our own iconic Monument Rocks, or take a first look at places they have never seen. What final form Keith's work will take is still a thought in progress. What is a certainty, though, is that his trip has morphed into an experience far beyond anything he could have imagined. He also assures folks that he will be back. Folks up and down Highway 83 will be watching the horizon for that little red Corvette and making a pot of coffee, ready to visit with someone who is now considered an old friend.
Well, that's it again for this week. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere around Kansas.
Gateway to Oz,
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part